Bitcoin vaults above $50,000 for the first time. Stimulus hopes drive Dow to a record high on Tuesday. Goldman Sachs unveils robo-advisor for the masses. TikTok's U.S. advertising business roars back post-Trump. I'm Mike Wallace, and this is TFT Nightly News. Bitcoin rose above $50,000 on Tuesday to a new record high, building on a rally fueled by signs that the world's biggest cryptocurrency is gaining acceptance amongst mainstream investors.
Bitcoin has leapt above $50,000 for the first time. The new record high on Tuesday built on a rally fueled by signs that the world's biggest cryptocurrency is gaining mainstream acceptance. Bitcoin soon edged back from the record high, but it's still up around 70% so far this year. Most of the gains came after electric car maker Tesla said it had bought $1.5 billion in Bitcoin and would accept the currency as payment for its cars. But Tesla was only the latest in a string of large investments that have vaulted Bitcoin from the fringes of finance to company balance sheets and Wall Street dealing desks. Oanda senior market analyst Craig Earlham, though, says it's still in its early stages.
Not every company is Tesla, not every CEO is Elon Musk, but that doesn't mean they're not going to be adding their names to the list of those preparing for a possibility where Bitcoin becomes part of the future. And I'm sure it's going to be a wild ride. That's the one thing you can say for certain.
One manager at crypto hedge fund ARK36 told Reuters that he would like to offer a word of caution and that while the long-term outlook is bullish, massive price fluctuations along the way are only to be expected. Bitcoin, he said, is still extremely volatile. Smaller cryptocurrency Ethereum edged over 1% higher on Tuesday, just shy of its own record high.
Aspiring astronauts are being invited to apply for a job that's out of this world after the European Space Agency launched its latest recruitment drive.
The sky isn't the limit for aspiring astronauts after the European Space Agency announced its latest recruitment drive. For the first time in over a decade, the ESA is calling for applicants for its next generation of astronauts. It's strongly encouraging women to apply and is looking at how it might add people with disabilities to its roster to boost diversity among crews. Those interested have a 2-month window from late March to late May to apply. To be qualified, applicants should have a master's degree in the sciences or mathematics field. ESA Chief Jan Warner.
We have astronauts from the last selection, and they are still active astronauts, and I would like to see them again going into orbit, going into space. But at the same time, we need also new astronauts to secure a continuity.
The selection process will involve 6 stages that will test candidates' scientific and technical know-how, physical capabilities, and the ability to stay cool under pressure. British astronaut Tim Peake.
When you look at what we're doing in human spaceflight, it is quite remarkable. We are pushing the boundaries. We're asking more of our engineering, of our scientists, of our astronauts, and everybody. And so to be part of this international team that can actually make a real difference is a huge privilege, a real privilege. And it was that really that motivated me to want to be part of this team, to push myself, even further than I thought was possible.
The agency's last recruitment drive in 2008 drew 8,000 applicants, of which 10 reached the final selection. This time around, the ESA is looking to add up to 26 permanent and reserve astronauts.
The Dow notched a record closing high on Tuesday, but rising interest rates have some market watchers concerned.
Fiscal stimulus hopes helped the Dow squeak out a new all-time high Tuesday. Investors scooped up stocks in cyclical sectors like energy and financials, betting they would gain the most from a reopening economy. Others picked up Bitcoin, sending the cryptocurrency soaring past $50,000 for the first time before pairing its gain. But investors sold bonds, driving up the yield on the benchmark 10-year Treasury to its highest since last February. That propelled financial stocks higher, but pressured tech stocks. Utilities and real estate stocks also fell because they're often considered bond proxies. At the close, the Dow was up 0.5%, but the S&P 500 was flat and the Nasdaq lost 0.33%. The rise in Treasury yields and interest rates worries Vespula Capital CEO Jeff Tomasulo.
When you have interest rates start to tick up the way we've seen today, now, is this a trend or is it not? I'm not sure. But if it continues, we're going to definitely see some issues in the overall market. And I think that's what we're seeing a little bit today.
As Bitcoin briefly topped the 50K milestone, cryptocurrency and blockchain-related stocks soared. Among them, Silvergate Capital, Riot Blockchain, and Marathon Patent Group. Investors also bet on shares of travel-related companies ahead of their earnings this week. Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott, and Norwegian Cruise Lines rose. Bank stocks jumped, but Citigroup shares rose less than 1%. A federal judge ruled that the bank was not entitled to recoup the $500 million it had mistakenly wired lenders of Revlon.
While U.S. President Joe Biden has been gradually unraveling many Trump-era immigration policies, the new administration has encouraged Mexico and Guatemala to keep up border enforcement in their countries to stem northward migration.
In the days leading up to U.S. President Joe Biden's inauguration, the Suchiate River, which runs along the Mexico-Guatemala border and is known for migrant crossings, was unusually quiet. The likely explanation lay hundreds of miles to the south, where baton-wielding Guatemalan security forces deployed tear gas and beat back one of the largest U.S.-bound migrant caravans ever assembled, according to a Reuters photographer and other witnesses. Some migrants threw rocks. Guatemalan immigration authorities reported an unspecified number of injuries. Angie Osorio had come from Honduras.
They should put their hands on their hearts. The children are not at fault. What are they doing wrong? We have fled many things that are happening, so it is not fair that we are treated like this, like dogs, like animals. It should not be.
The operation was part of a U.S.-led effort pursued by past administrations and accelerated under former President Donald Trump to pressure Mexican and Central American governments to halt migration well short of the U.S. border. Under the Biden administration, the same general strategy is likely to continue, at least for the near term, according to 6 U.S. and Mexican sources. While Biden has been gradually unraveling many Trump-era immigration policies, the new administration has encouraged Mexico and Guatemala to keep up border enforcement, according to 2 Mexican officials and a U.S. official. Diplomats and immigration experts told Reuters that any migrant rush to the U.S. border could hand Biden's political opponents ammunition to sink the rest of his immigration agenda, which includes providing a pathway to citizenship for immigrants already in the U.S. and reducing asylum application backlogs. The Biden administration has not specifically endorsed militarized action, however, and has vowed to treat migrants with dignity. Mexican immigration expert Tonatiuh Guillen.
There is a reopening. There is a reform in progress. The expectation is that the most important immigration reform in decades will make progress in the United States.
Immigration experts and people familiar with the Biden administration's thinking say Washington may try to exercise more oversight down the line over how Mexican and Central American authorities conduct border containment operations. But Biden officials have repeatedly pleaded with asylum seekers not to migrate now, stressing that the administration needs time to enact its domestic immigration changes.
Goldman Sachs said on Tuesday it is launching an automated digital platform to invest customer funds across managed platforms made up of exchange-traded funds for stocks and bonds.
If you were super rich, you could turn to Goldman Sachs to manage your millions. But on Tuesday, the legendary Wall Street investment bank announced it would offer money management for everyday investors. Through an app called Marcus Invest, an automated wealth advisor will allocate customers' funds based on strategies developed to serve institutions and the wealthy. The minimum to open a Marcus investment account is $1,000, and Goldman will charge a fee of 0.35%, in line with other retail investment platforms. It's a latest move into digital banking as the bank tries to shift its focus from Wall Street to Main Street. Launched in 2016, Marcus offers savings accounts and personal loans to retail customers. Through Marcus, Goldman CEO David Solomon aims to reduce the bank's reliance on volatile revenue from trading and investment banking. Marcus Invest will offer individual and joint investment accounts and 3 types of retirement accounts. Customers will be able to customize their investments by selecting from 3 investment strategies based on their appetite for risk.
An Arctic air mass delivered bone-chilling temperatures to parts of the U.S. unaccustomed to frigid weather, leaving millions of Texans without power on Tuesday.
Millions of people in Texas were left without power Tuesday after a rare deep freeze forced the state's electric grid operator to impose rotating blackouts because of higher power demand. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, in an afternoon briefing, said 1.3 million people in his city alone were without power. He appealed to state and local providers to act quickly.
We need to get this power restored ASAP. And at the very minimum, got to give us some information so that we can tell people when they can expect the power to be restored.
At least 4 deaths were tied to the bitter cold engulfing vast areas of the country over the holiday weekend. 2 of those deaths were due to carbon monoxide poisoning, as several people were treated in hospitals for trying to heat icy homes with outdoor grills or propane heaters. And officials say at least 3 people died when a tornado, fueled by a low-pressure system, swept through North Carolina's Brunswick County overnight. In Oklahoma City, volunteers tried to make sure homeless residents could endure the cold snap.
Basically getting everyone a hot meal, sleeping bags, gloves, whatever we can do to help them out and survive the storm.
In a Chicago neighborhood, snow almost completely took over an outdoor patio set. In Texas, some residents found ways to enjoy the chill, riding snowboards or laundry baskets down frozen hills.
You live in Houston, you don't really have regular sleds. Power went out in the heights, so I'm gonna freeze my butt off. Might as well be out in the snow.
An approaching storm is expected to bring more snow, ice, and sleet from the Texas Panhandle through Kentucky and up through Washington, D.C. to New York City, New Jersey, and Boston.
While the Biden administration reviews concerns about TikTok raised by former U.S. President Donald Trump, corporate sponsors have raced back to the popular short video sharing app, booking advertising campaigns and experimenting with new ways to reach consumers.
We may be banning TikTok. Accused by the Trump administration of being a front for the Chinese government, TikTok's ad business looked bleak last July. Big brands backed off on spending as former U.S. President Donald Trump levied threats at the video sharing app popular among teens. But after it became clear Joe Biden had won November's U.S. presidential election, that all changed. Corporate sponsors have raced back to TikTok, booking advertising campaigns and experimenting with new ways to reach consumers, 3 ad agency executives told Reuters. It comes as just last week, Biden paused legal action against the Chinese-owned company in a lawsuit that could have seen the app banned in the U.S. Although TikTok's U.S. advertising business is estimated to be small compared with larger social platforms, it said it tracked a 500% increase in advertisers running campaigns in the U.S. over the course of 2020, signing up brands including McDonald's, Kate Spade, and Bose. As the app seeks to earn more money and capitalize on its large Gen Z audience, its revenue ambitions have grown and now include selling top-dollar ad packages centered around holidays or major events. To celebrate Black History Month, TikTok will hold a virtual event with 500 Black creators on Thursday and has invited brands to sponsor the event for $750,000, according to a TikTok slide deck obtained by Reuters. The deck also showed that the company has asked brands for $1.5 million to sponsor a live finale of Black History Month, featuring artist performances and special guest appearances.
And those are the latest from around the world. I'm Mike Wallace, and this is TFT Nightly News.